and welcome to Thor's Hammer, brought to you by VikeFans.com. I'm Viking Bob, and I'm sitting in my basement drinking a Long Island iced tea. I'm sitting here with my partners in crime. We got Georgia Vike, OBM, and Mike Olson, manly phones in Minnesota. Go to OBM this week first. How are you doing, big guy?
What's going on, brothers? Good to be back. Good to be back with another Vikings victory, and I'm enjoying the usual Jack on the rocks and just chilling out this Friday night. Not much going on here. What's up in
very nice.
ATL, CG? What's going on in the ATL, buddy?
I'm drinking some Coors Light here tonight. It's been a redneck time here with the family, and family not on my side or my wife's side kind of here tonight. So it's been a kind of a redneck trailer trash type of night over here. So I'm drinking the Coors Light, been drinking plenty of them, and having a good time. How's it going up in Minnesota, Olson?
Hey, we're staying warm up here. Actually, unseasonably warm up here. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to the game this Sunday. It's going to be 40-plus degrees, which is unheard of up here in December. As for tonight, though, I'm drinking a Surly Furious because I got to keep it real with the breweries up in Minnesota. I'm feeling pretty good. Bob, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm out and about. Unfortunately, had a call in from my phone. I didn't have time to get home and plug in, but the show must go on.
Hey, I'm glad you're with us.
Well, it's not fun here, but hopefully the quality of my voice sounds better than normal. Hopefully people can understand what I say with my accent.
Voice of angels, baby. The voice of angels.
Yeah, angel of death, right? All right, guys. From there, let's get into breaking down last week's game against the Falcons. And because he went to the game, we'll go to Georgia Vike first and he can give us all his in-depth knowledge and view from the tailgating party. Take it away, Georgia.
The tailgate party was kick-ass last week. Seriously, it was a huge showing by the Bikes Nation out there. People from VikeFans.com was out there. People from the Viking fans in Atlanta were out there. It almost felt like a home game. It was great. Got to meet Rose Bridgewater. She was a nice lady. Pops, obviously, Jamie Robinson was out there. That was great talking to him and his old ball coach. But the other guys who, from boards and people we met online, they were all. It was a great time. My son had a great time. Absolutely phenomenal.
Good to hear. Good to hear, man. Wish I could have joined you.
I wish you would have come on down here. Because, guys, seriously, I've never seen this many. There's more Viking fans here for this game than there was at Lambeau Field for the Favre return. I couldn't believe it.
Very nice. So what are your thoughts on the game? Give us an in-depth report on the game now.
The game was good. I was, from a fan side here, up until the fourth quarter, I was still kind of like flipping a quarter. Are we going to win this thing? Are we going to lose the game? But watching the Vikings game, I guess I watched Atlanta shoot themselves in the foot more times than the Vikings have here, the last year. It's the running game for Atlanta. When Coleman, he finally gets this big run, Barr goes in there, busts the ball out of him. It's every time Atlanta did something well, they shot themselves in the foot. I think they're the first and goal from like the 2 or 3 yard line, and they wound up with nothing. Yep. I was thoroughly impressed watching the Vikings sit there and do that. Just stop them, shut them down. Adrian Peterson's running the ball better than I ever imagined or thought he could be doing this year. Teddy's still holding on to the ball too long. We still don't have a number one, so I'm not happy about that. But it was a great game. The game that, with the exception of that BS touchdown at the end there for Atlanta, this should have been a 20-3 game. I was pretty impressed. I didn't know what it looked like on TV. I watched it after I got home a little bit, but I was fast forwarding, so I can't really get into analytics on behind the scenes stuff because I was looking at it from the stadium, obviously.
Well, it wasn't really the most exciting game to watch, but in a way, there were some really big plays, like both of them by Barr on defense. Those were incredible. Of course, the 2 interceptions really helped too. So, I love the defense. I don't care about the offense. I'm all about the D. I'm all about the base.
was Barr as unblocked as he looked in person on TV when he came across and sacked Matty Icer at the end of the game for the fumble? Because it looked like no one was on
middle.
him. Yeah,
he just blew up the middle. And I mean, I was more impressed with him chasing down Tevin Coleman from behind. And Coleman was just running as fast as he possibly can, and Barr looked like he was jogging. Is he really that fast?
I think Barr was running, but he wasn't running at full speed. But I think the zigzag and getting kind of slowed down there. Who was it? Zendaya? Who was on him at that call? That got totally blown up before that. I can't remember who picked the fumble.
Oh, that was Exum. Exum got the fumble.
Yeah, Exum got burned in that play when he cut in.
Oh, yeah.
So he's in front of him, and Barr was running, and you could tell Barr was kind of like, when Barr came from behind him, he was not looking for the tackle when he knew he could have tackled his ass easily. He's looking to boot that ball out of there. But to me, right there at that moment, I was stoked, which I was correct about last year, if y'all remember, about picking Barr. He was going to be our first-round pick. He was on our team. This kid is going to be a stud. He is Jason Taylor 2.0.
He stays healthy.
Yeah, I would have to say that I agree with pretty much everything that GB said. The thing that really impressed me was the defense. I mean, they go on the road and basically be up in that game 20-3. I know Atlanta's not exactly lighting it up right now, but first 5 or 6 games of the year, I mean, they're scoring like 30 points a game. So we go on the road, win our 4th road game, and run the ball the way that we did and just dominate that game. I mean, pretty impressive. I mean, it's one of those games that you look at, I think, later in the season and say, that might have been a game that, we had to have. We had it. We talked about these last 2 weeks. These were games that we really had to have. And now we got Seattle this week. So, we kind of got to have this one too, being that Green Bay, we want to be going to that. But, Green Bay won last night, so keeping the pressure on us. But, Seattle this week's going to be a challenge, but after last week, the fact that we played that well on the road again and won that game, to me, that just speaks volumes of how well coached this team is and just how good they are defensively. And like you said, you got Barr, you got some up-and-coming stars on that defense that they haven't even hit their full potential yet. Let's talk again in 2-3 years from now, assuming they stay healthy. And Barr and Hendricks, I mean, those guys might be Vikings for 8, they might be 10-year type guys that just dominate for the next, 7, 8, 9 years, hopefully. So, pretty exciting time to be a Viking, and a win is a win. We're 8-3, we're on top of the division, and now we got the Seahawks coming to town. So, I like our chances.
Hey, you talk about, Atlanta was doing great at the beginning of the year, and then they kind of fell off. And, one thing about this game is how many times have we seen our team be the team to get a team back on track and have them go off on us after struggling or have some nobody light us up out of nowhere, and I was just thankful that we weren't that team this year, and it would have been easy to do on the road. So that's what I was happy for.
I agree with you, Mike, that I was waiting for this game to be like the upset special type of thing for a fan.
Right.
I thought that for sure that all of a sudden Matty Ice is coming out there looking like Staubach, coming out there throwing TDs, Coleman, he's going to look like Emmitt Smith or, whomever, Barry Sanders. I was waiting for the big letdown that we're so accustomed to, and it didn't happen. I was proud of this team going in there getting a victory that they needed. It was, like I said, even up into the 4th quarter, I was still like, flip a coin. Right now, the fans around me were really nice people, but I was like, I'm not thinking that we got this thing in the bag. I don't, and they came through. I'm getting more impressed with this team every time I see them play.
Yeah,
I am too. And like I said, I've said this a million times. This team is built on defense, and each week they impress me more and more. I mean, you take away the first game of the season and the debacle against Green Bay, they've been phenomenal pretty much every week. Yeah, you can't win every game. They lost to Denver, and they gave them a hell of a game. But as long as they stay healthy, I mean, we missed Harrison Smith last game, and then Tadeo went down, so we're playing with 2 backup safeties, and we still basically almost pitched a shutout against them. It's phenomenal to see what this defense can do. As long as the guys are buying into it, into Zimmer's philosophy, they're going to be damn freaking good. You know, last year a couple of guys didn't want to buy into it. Now they are, and you see the results. Yeah, I mean, that's where I live out here in New England Patriot land. The players buy into Belichick, and they succeed. So now the players are buying into Zimmer's philosophy. No, we've seen the results. I mean, you take, for example, would be Brian Robinson. He doesn't get all the stats now anymore, but he's doing a wonderful job in his corner. No one's getting by him. He's staying home, doing what he's told to do, and the team is more successful. Not necessarily the player, but the team. So if Zimmer sticks around and players stay in line, listen to him, possible dynasty on defense. Hopefully we can upgrade the offense.
Can I ask a question in regards to the Atlanta game?
Sure.
Actually, as Zimmer comment, like about how he won that game big time, and people are saying no, it wasn't because of his relationship with Bobby Petrino in Atlanta and the way that whole thing ended a few years back. Are you guys buying that? I'm thinking he wanted to stick it to Atlanta for not giving him the head coaching job, for sticking around after the whole Bobby Petrino fiasco. Is it just me?
Well, he commented on that. They asked him about that. And he was real short with his answer about what happened down there. He just basically said it was an interesting year and met some great people in the organization. But he definitely made it sound like he didn't like how things went down there. That the coach gave up in the middle of the year.
Well, I know you like the coach that Petrino left them all and left those guys hanging. I can understand that, but do you think Zimmer was thinking at that time that this might be his chance to get a head coaching job or prove himself somewhat?
Yeah,
They basically said, after you, we're not giving you that chance right now, so he wanted to stick it to him?
Quite possible.
I'm glad they did tell him to screw it, because I'm glad he's our head coach. That's all I got to say.
Right.
Well, I have to agree with what you're saying about Mike Zimmer. I mean, I don't know really what happened down in Atlanta with Petrino and how he feels about that, but I have to agree with the comment of, I'm so glad that he is our coach.
For sure. For sure.
We got to move on to the upcoming game against the Seahawks. Worst game on paper for us. I mean, I personally do not like the matchup. The Vikings are a run offense, and Seahawks are a pretty damn good run defense. They put pressure up the middle, take away all the running lanes. They make the quarterback try to throw the ball, and I don't know if Teddy's ready to actually lead the team by throwing the ball for 300-plus yards. Our receivers aren't that good, and they also have some very good defensive backs on the defense side. And on the other side of the ball, Vikings always seem to have a problem playing mobile quarterbacks, and they got Russell Wilson, who's pretty much is one of the top mobile quarterbacks in the league, and they also have a big running back in Rawls. I want to be a homer, but if any game on the schedule that I had to pick to say they might lose, this would be it, because I do not like the matchup on paper. Well, BM, your thoughts?
Well, Seattle, I mean, it's the Legion of Boom. I mean, everybody talks about how dominant they've been over the last couple of years, and they really have been. But I think the first things first, I think our defense is going to have to come this week and probably play their best game so far this year. I mean, we're going to have to contain Wilson. They still have weapons on offense. They can make you pay when he gets loose, when he scrambles. I've seen a couple of Seahawks games now in the last couple of weeks, and he's just one of those guys. If he buys that extra couple of seconds of time, he can still hurt you no matter who's out there. So they might not have the big name wide receivers, and Lynch and Jimmy Graham are out, but they still got guys who can make plays. And again, Wilson is going to be someone we're going to have to contain. As far as on our side of the ball, I think our offensive line is going to probably have to play their best game of the year as well, because that defensive line, you've got a couple guys up front there that, if you don't block them and take care of them, Cliff Averill, Michael Bennett primarily are going to be, TJ Clemmings just going to have to step up this week, and hopefully we can give him some help and give Teddy the time he's going to need to get rid of the football. So, on the bright side, we got Adrian Peterson running the ball. He looks as good as ever right now. It's a home game, which we're undefeated as of right now, I believe. So this is a game I think the Vikings can win, but they are going to have to play probably their best game of the year. I mean, this is going to be a great matchup. And, it's one of those games you look at on the calendar, even at the beginning of the year, and you can't wait to play a team like this because, after this game is over, we're going to really know where we stand, I think, in the NFC as far as the playoffs go and as far as where we are, just mentally, physically, that the whole thing, because Seahawks bring everything to the table. So it's going to be a tough task, but I think Zimmer's going to have them up for it, and we'll just have to see how it all plays out.
What are your thoughts on Peterson's fumbles all at home this year and playing a tough run defense?
Well, I think again, go back to this. I mean, we're going to have to stick with Adrian Peterson. Kyle Rudolph, shockingly, I throw a few stats up every week, but this actually surprised me. He had his career high in receptions last week was 7. So, I think we're going to have a steady dose. AP's going to need to see the Rock probably 25 times this week. I think you saw 28 or 29 times last week, but I would really try to control the line of scrimmage and keep the ball in AP's hands. And I think it's just going to be a great matchup. I mean, our offensive line in AP versus that defense that is still pretty solid. I mean, not quite what it was maybe a couple of years ago, but still a very good defense. So you look at this game, and it could have the makings of one of those games that at the end of the day, you're just going to look at it and go, wow, that was fun football to watch. And I think, I'm not going to make my prediction yet. We'll wait till we get to that segment of the show, but it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be an awesome game to watch. And, Olsen, you are one lucky son of a bitch to be going to that one, especially if it's going to be 47 degrees, brother.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. We got a few of us getting together to do some tailgating beforehand, and hopefully we get to meet a lot of other Viking fans and pass on some information about our site here at vikefans.com. So I'm looking forward to it. I think we're gonna have a good day. I think not having Joseph in is gonna be tough to overcome, but as long as we can keep Wilson in the pocket, keep him from escaping out, I think we can handle the passing, and I think our linebackers are going to be ready to step up and stop Rawls. So I think it's going to be a bit of a low scoring affair, and it's going to be whoever has the best defense and the best running game.
What do you like? Give us your thoughts.
Oh gosh, this week I'm a little nervous this week. Seattle's playing decent ball right now, and I kind of have the same feeling about this game as I had going into the Green Bay game. Seattle's defense is still good. There's nothing, to poo-poo, for lack of better words. Our offense hasn't been clicking on all cylinders with the exception of Adrian Peterson. I hope Adrian can go off, but I still have a feeling that with their secondary, is going to sit back there and guard the receivers, and their line and the linebackers and go after Peterson. So I think it's going to be a long day for Teddy out there this week. I also think our defense can shut down Russell Wilson. Rawls has been playing really well, so I'm also a little bit nervous about him. It's this game. Looking at it from a logical standpoint, this is going to be a tough game for the Vikings here. I'm hoping that they keep it close. I hope they win this game, but I'm not getting my hopes up. I'll say that.
Hopefully the Zebras are on our side for once, like they were on Green Bay's last night, like always. Cut that out. I don't want to say that, no.
No, Bob. Yeah, exactly. But when I'm looking at this game, I'm thinking this game could expose the Vikings to a lot of things. Seattle can expose a lot of teams. You have a lot of defenses plans against the Vikings. This could be one of those games where they are who we thought they were, type of thing for other teams. Like, and people who are saying the Vikings aren't as good as their record's showing. And I hope we're not being exposed, because Green Bay blew us up, and their defense is whatever. But Seattle's got a great defense, and our offense isn't our strongest asset. And last week, Seattle, they put up 39 in Pittsburgh, so it makes me a little nervous. I'm hoping Seattle's not clicking in all cylinders right now, because if it is, it's going to be a long day for us.
Agreed.
I gotta throw this in there. I mean, I know Seattle. Everybody talks about how great Seattle's been over the years and whatever, but they gave up 480 yards last week in passing in the injured Big Ben. So I mean, I'm not saying Teddy's going to go out there and light it up. Again, that's not the type of offense we're going to run against them. But I don't think they're as good as they have been in years past. And I think the fact that this game is at home and we play so well at home, I think it's going to be a little bit closer game than some people are saying and thinking right now. It seems like everybody's back on the Seattle bandwagon. Let's not forget they're 6-5 right now, and they could easily be about 4 and I mean they could easily be 5-6. I mean they won a couple games that they flat out shouldn't have. So I mean I'm not saying that Seattle's a bad team by any means. They're still very solid up and down, but I don't think this is a game that we're going to get exposed in, especially defensively. I mean, yeah, we're missing Joseph, but hopefully it sounds like Barr is going to be back and he's going to be healthy for the game. And, Harrison Smith, I think, is still out. That kind of sucks, but I don't know, guys. This is a home game. Minnesota is tough at home. I guess it's kind of unfortunate. It sounds like the weather's going to be so nice that kind of the weather they get out in Seattle this time of the year. So we're not going to have any advantage there, but it's a home game. We still got Adrian Peterson. Teddy's still Teddy. If we can keep him upright, I think he's going to have a solid game. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. I just have to play it out, but I don't think it's, a lot of people, I've talked to a couple of my buddies this week, they're like, we're never going to win this game. I'm like, really? We're 8-3 yet, man. We're 8-3. So we're playing with a lot of confidence. We just got to play it out and see how it goes. But I like our chances.
All season long, I've only picked up against us once, and that was against Denver, and unfortunately I was right. If I had to bet my house on this game, I would take Seattle. I really would. But you know what? That I'm the homer. I'm driving that Super Bowl bandwagon.
You're pushing it too, Bob.
I'm pushing it, pulling it. I'm carrying it on my fucking back. I don't give a what the hell I got to do here. This is, it's a good time to be a Viking fan. You got to live in the moment, So here we go. Vikings 23-20.
23-20. Well, you know what? I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to call this one 30-17 Vikings. I think the Vikings offense is going to dominate that line of scrimmage this week. We're going to get another 120, 130 yards out of AP. Teddy's going to make the throws when he needs to. Stephon Diggs is going to have a big game. There it is, 30-17 Vikings.
Damn, OBM's driving the fucking bandwagon with me now.
He's smoking crack, too.
Georgia Blake, give us your pick.
Oh God, this week I got out the Viking thing, last week or 2 weeks ago after we finally broke the jinx of me picking against them, and I picked the game right last week. This week I'm going with the Vikings to win 14-10.
Oh God, no! You pick them to win. Oh, we're screwed.
Hey, I'm 1-0. Last 2 weeks, we're 1-0.
All right. Okay, we'll start a new winning streak for you. How's that?
I need any help I can get, man. Any help.
Hey, Mike Olson, your pick, please.
23-17 Vikes. I think that's.
Oh my gosh, man! We all just picked the Vikings, and that never happened. Where we all wow.
We have to blame it on Georgia Vike. We all thought he was going to pick against us, so.
Yeah. Oh man, this is definitely a loss now. Damn us. Damn all of us.
You just gotta believe.
You know what?
You gotta believe, baby.
Yeah, you need to put the Coors Light down and switch back to the 64, buddy. Vikings are going to win this game.
OBM's not drinking Jack anymore. I think he's drinking straight Kool-Aid.
You guys remember the last week we all picked the same team together, the Vikings? Week one.
Yeah, we know what happened week 1.
I'm picking the Seattle to whoop that ass this week. 34-10. Seattle.
Wow, I love it.
So 34-10, Seattle wins this week.
Georgia Vikings back.
Sounds so negative. Come on, brothers. You know.
All right, so let's move on to the NFC North. Games we picked for that. You know what? I just want to hate the Zebras. They absolutely kiss Rogers' ass. It pisses me off as a fan. It's killing the friggin' league. It's like a WWE sometimes. It really is. Faith mask. Bullshit. And a Hail Mary that's actually caught. If the Lions win that game, which they should have, Vikings have the division. Now it's going to go down to week 17, so it's all about intimidative value. And again, I don't care if anyone believes me or whatever, have their own opinion. This is just mine. I'm sick of the referees. And I'm sorry about all the swearing I'm doing tonight. I'm just sick of it. Joe, truly is.
The game last night, Bob, it was, to me, it felt like watching a Vikings game. To me personally, in the Lions of the Vikings. That's the way I felt watching it, is like, you know, I can't root against the Vikings against the Lions unless you're playing the Vikings. And it's just because they've had a horse crap luck, you know, over the course of, 50, 60 years now, however long. But watching it last night, watching the call in real time, which looked like a face mask, I will say that. In actuality, it wasn't, is a disgrace. It upset me more seeing what wasn't called on Teddy Bridgewater, but was called on Aaron Rodgers last night. And Aaron Rodgers saying, "No, I didn't act at all. BS. Quit lying. You're a liar. Stop it." And that infuriated me. The holding calls in that last play of the game infuriated me. It's just watching it last night. I felt like I was a Detroit Lions fan waking up today just pissed off.
Exactly. It is almost like watching WWE now. It's like you know who's going to win. Maybe the underdog wins for entertainment value every now and then. But the champion always pulls out in the last second on a 2 count.
Barry Horowitz never beat Hulk Hogan, did he? No, he didn't. Barry O always lost. And Lenny Popple always lost to Hulk Hogan. It didn't matter.
Look, there's getting to be a common theme in NFL games, which is that if there's any possible way of keeping people on their seat, glued to the television, they're going to allow that to happen. There's just been too many games this year that a penalty has kept a drive alive, or something strange happens where they misdiagnose how a play should be ruled, and it ends up keeping a team alive until the final seconds of the game. It's just too many for people to overlook, and it's becoming quite a bit of chatter around the internet. So I think the NFL needs to do some looking into what's going on with that, because people are getting to be too smart to just take it for what it is.
Can I say something? Not to bring up this analogy, because the WWF or WWE, whatever they're called now, is a great analogy. But this is kind of reminds me of, remember American Idol, when it just came out as actually a good television show. Then they started bringing the built-in drama between judges and everything else, and it killed it. That's exactly what's happening to the NFL. They're putting their own built-in drama into it, and it's killing the sport, and the fans are looking at it like, this is fixed.
And I don't think that it's necessarily fixed. I'm not trying to say that. It's just there's too much fabricated drama being brought into the game, and while it might not be fixing, it could be changing the outcomes of the games. And I hate to say that, but that's honestly what I believe in the NFL right now. I still think you can control the game. You just have to go above and beyond the refereeing at sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't believe it's fixed. I think it's too big to be fixed, because it'd take one ref to come out and say, "Oh yeah, we were fixing games." But one ref to come out and say we're fixing games, or one player to come out and say that there's too many people involved for them to be fixing it. But I think there are other things, like we were saying before, is this Vegas that's getting involved in the referees' pockets, but they have too much influence in these games right now to alter the outcomes. It's becoming scary.
The bigger question here is, how long is it going to be now until you can challenge anything? Because let's just be honest here. If that play had been challenged, that face mask penalty, there's no way that thing sticks. The game's over. In my opinion, that was not a face mask. So I think it's coming, guys.
OBM, do you agree with Belichick? And I have. That's the one thing I agree with Belichick with, is saying if you're going to have reviews, anything's reviewable. Whether it be a penalty, whether it be a play, whether it be anything, you can review it. And that's a spot where, let's review this. Because when they can't review it, like we were saying, in real time, it looked like a penalty. If you look at it again, it wasn't. And they can't even review the play.
Yeah, I agree. And, that penalty was almost as bad as the bullshit callback in the Saints game in 2009 where they called, I think, pass interference in overtime or right at the end of regulation on, I think it was Lieber. And he didn't even touch the guy. It's like, seriously?
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, I think we need these guys cannot keep up with the speed of the game. It's pretty obvious. I mean, when I saw the play, it looked like a face mask. When I saw the replay, completely different thing. So, to me, you're right. If we're going to do this, we got to do it right. You should be able to challenge everything. Challenge holding, pass interference, whatever, because, otherwise we're just kidding. It's already been, we were talking about this before we got on the air. How many games have been decided by just horrible officiating and bad calls this year? I mean, I said about 6 or 8. I mean, someone said a dozen. I mean, it's gotten to the point now where it's becoming an issue and it's costing, Caldwell, honestly, let's just be honest here. He came out today and said, we didn't think he'd throw it that far. We didn't expect a Hail Mary, so we didn't line up for it. All right. You just told yourself you wanted to get fired at. Seriously. Yeah. How can you line up with a 3-man front and not expect a Hail Mary? I mean, Caldwell, in my book, thanks for playing. You're done at the end of the year. See you later. I would have fired his ass this morning. But, the bottom line is it was still a terrible call right before that play. The Lions should have won the game. They didn't. But, again, it really makes you wonder how far are we away from you should be able to challenge everything. And, I mean, it might make the games a little bit longer, but really, how much longer can they get? I mean, all the other crap that's going on, these things are pushing 3.5 hours, 4 hours. There's a 4-hour Monday Night Football game not too long ago.
If they're worried about that, they can reduce the play clock, because you got quarterbacks coming up the line. They're just sitting there waiting for the clock to kick down anyways. So, but I to clarify a few things, I don't think that it was a non-understandable call. I can totally get why they made the call, because it looked like a face mask probably at real speed. But like you say about being able to review everything, I think it's coming, because never mind the face mask call, on the next play, how many penalties could they have called on the offensive line on that play? And there must have been 4 of them at least. And they let the play go on. I mean,
yes.
That's absolutely insanity to me.
Yes. I agree 100%.
And about the face mask, that was on a play where there was a forward pass, there was a couple laterals, and a pass back to the quarterback, who, sure, it was back in the pocket back there, but the ball had already left the pocket. So any preferential quarterback treatment to call the lightest grays on a face mask is completely crap. I mean, the guy at that point has to be treated like any other player on the field with the ball. And an incidental, tiny little graze on the face mask, a 15-yard penalty, and an extra play? Come on, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Bullshit call.
Well, enough about last night's game from Mike, as his rant is over now, I hope. At this time, I want to introduce everyone at home to Ayinka Ayinde. She is from Viking Digital Diaries. Welcome, Ayinka. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing well, guys.
I'm living the dream as always, man. I'm down here in the ATL.
Yinka, let's give us your thoughts on last night's debacle in Detroit.
Yeah, man, I actually watched that game from beginning to end, and it was one of those games where, the reason why it hurt so much, because it was almost like watching the Vikings, go up, do all they can to frustrate the Packers and whatnot, and just to lose it at the end. And that just kind of seems to be the story with NFC teams versus the Packers. And that's why, you always hear this phrase, it's everything's run through Lambeau, everything's run through the Packers, because it's true. They just find a way to win. Now, there was a phantom face mask call. There was a very good no call on the PI. I thought there was a few, actually, pass interference calls that weren't pass interference calls. But, at the end of the day, I feel for the Lions because I feel like they were slightly robbed. But, at the same time, the refs didn't tell the Detroit Lions to cover a Hail Mary in the worst possible defense that they possibly could. But, at the end of the day, the Packers led for literally zero seconds in that entire game. But if you give Aaron Rodgers even 0 seconds to win a football game, he'll find a way to do it. So, it sucks within the division because that could have just put that much more distance between the Packers and the Vikings. But it's really looking like this division is really going to be down to the wire week 17. I've been saying that for a long time, and I feel like it's going to be the case. It's that week 17 game is going to be for the division, kind of like it was last year for the Lions and the Packers. So, really hoping that the Vikings stay competitive and whatnot in this division. But as far as the game, yeah, it was tough to watch the Lions essentially beat themselves, all up until that last thing, because Lord knows the Packers didn't do it.
Agreed. It's almost like become the WWE. The referees have to help out the champion.
Yeah.
They kick out at 2 all the time, and there's a fake. They turn their back when they pull up the razor blade and whatever, the brass knuckles. And it's sickening to watch sometimes that the better team that night doesn't always win.
Yeah,
that's my thoughts. All right, since you just came on here with us, we were talking about the game this weekend against the Seahawks, and we've all done our picks. So give you a couple of minutes here to throw your thoughts out there, and at the end, give us the final score.
I think of all the games this weekend, this is probably the toughest game to call. You really have what you have is the Seahawks had a formula for the last couple of years. Great defense, run the football, have a quarterback who makes the throws when they're there and doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Now, I think the Vikings kind of took a page out of that book as far as, drafting Bridgewater, a guy who I very much love and respect, and the quarterback that I wanted. Obviously have Zimmer build great defense, and then, they run the football with Adrian Peterson, which is why it was so important to get a guy like that back. Now, what we've seen so far this year is our tight ends and are needing to help our offensive line just because of the fact that, you have a lot of guys that are there that frankly shouldn't be starters. No offense to them, obviously, would be great backups, but they're either inexperienced or they just don't have the talent as some of our starters have. Losing Sullivan for what it seems like it's going to be for the year, losing Will Holt. Matt Khalil's playing very well, but Brandon Fusco coming back from a pectoral injury, you can't blame him just because he doesn't have the strength that he did last year and years prior. And obviously Joe Berger is actually playing quite well. That's going to be a huge emphasis in this game. You'll see a lot of tight ends probably staying on the line again. That 3 tight end set, power running game, and I think that's going to be a huge play. Don't look for this game to be one of those breakout games for Bridgewater. I know that he is going to play well, in my opinion, in the last 4 games of the season. I just don't feel like this is going to be the game that he kind of breaks out like he did last year with Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, just those boys in the back, Legion of Boom, just in the back end, just kind of covering receivers. I don't be surprised if a guy like Darius Wright really steps in. He's a very good third down guy. He's a guy that I banged the table on to get a contract extension because, this guy is, in my opinion, he's the truth. So it's definitely gonna be a lot of Adrian Peterson. Obviously, you got to get this guy at least 20 touches. When he gets to 20 touches, we're 8-0. When he doesn't, and we're less than 17 touches, we're 0-3. So feed him early and often. I'm even a firm believer that even if we go down by maybe a score or two, I don't necessarily want us to get away from the run. Yeah, to continue to feed him however you can. I know he's not the greatest at pass protection, but what I noticed with the Atlanta game is he was really getting into the screen game, bubble screens, all that kind of stuff. He had a pretty major drop, but again, keep him on the field any way you can. I feel like Thomas Rawls, with the injury of Linval Joseph for that game, might have a good game. I'm kind of predicting him to have around 75 to 85 yards this game. And expect Wilson to get out of the pocket on a few plays. It's just going to happen. He's going to get a few plays and stuff. But I really feel like the receiving core isn't going to do that well against the Vikings back end. Terrence Newman's playing well. Xavier Rhodes really is getting back to form like he did last season and shadowing receivers. Expect this to be kind of a close game. I guess if I'm giving my take at the tail end here, I'm looking at this game being 24-23 the Vikings. It's going to be kind of a nail-biter. Maybe a Blair Walsh late field goal type thing. So, I definitely think it's going to be the Vikings are stepping into what the Seahawks had for their previous formula, and you're really going to get to see that kind of come ahead here at this game. So, yeah, like I said, I'm predicting Vikings winning this one.
Yeah, great stuff, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Got a couple of questions from the guys on the board that want to interact with you. Mike Olson, he wants to question for you.
Well, not so much a question as I want to thank him for affirming what I said earlier, in that I think it is going to come down to the running game, and I know a lot of people are thinking that Adrian Peterson isn't going to be able to run against this team, but like you said, Adrian's been getting more involved in the screen game and some of those sharp passing things, and like you said, he did drop a ball last week, one that if he would have grabbed it, he would have been gone. But I also agree that I don't think this is the game to put on Teddy's shoulders. And I know a lot of people are saying the quarterback is going to have to make some plays here, but I think that might be asking a little bit too much of him given how the offense has played this year, and I wouldn't look for that to happen this week. And I think it's going to be a matchup of running backs, because I don't think Wilson's going to be able to do a whole lot against our defense, provided that we can keep him in the pocket. So I'd have to say great take, because it kind of affirmed what I was saying earlier.
Yeah. I guess the other thing because again we are in a league that honestly is really spoiled with guys like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, what used to be Peyton Manning and Drew Brees. But I think that there's been a lot of criticism as far as Bridgewater, and I look at it this way. If you look at Aaron Rodgers, if Aaron Rodgers played immediately once he came into the league, this man would have been right now he would have been ran out of the league a long time ago. People would say he needs to get out, he's not good, he's not accurate and stuff. And I think what you're getting with Teddy is, Teddy's getting the combination of think about a guy being able to sit behind a quarterback like Brett Favre and all that stuff. And standing on the bench and stuff. Teddy's not actually being asked to do a lot, much like the guy who's on the bench. But at the same time, he's also getting that in-game experience, and I think that's what North Turner and Zimmer see, is they're kind of getting that combination of the guy who's going to sit behind, the bridge quarterback, and he's also getting that in-game experience that's so important, because he's missing a lot of throws, but once Adrian eventually retires or leaves, I hope it's more of retirement, Bridgewater's not going to make all those same mistakes, because he's making them now. He's making them, obviously, when he's still young, but because, like, that's only, in my opinion, that's only going to inflate his ceiling because, you know, if he is sitting on the bench, if he was sitting behind a quarterback, he wouldn't be able to make those mistakes. And I know his numbers aren't gaudy right now, but you're seeing a lot of little things for those of us who are really looking and evaluating QBs as more than just guys who are putting up fantasy numbers. But this guy is doing a lot of little things that you didn't see from previous quarterbacks, you know, a la Christian Ponder and whatnot. So combined with that stuff, on top of, you know, getting a better offensive line and maybe a receiving core that he's more comfortable with, not to say he's not now, but I think you are going to see more of that ceiling coming in this next year and years after, where you're going to see more of that quarterback that we saw or we were hoping him to be in years to come. And you still might see that quarterback because we are going to make the playoffs. I don't care what anybody says. The Vikings are going to make the playoffs. And I think you will start seeing that quarterback come in more over these next couple of weeks.
And let's be honest, the mistakes that he is making on the field, they're not killer mistakes. They're few and far in between. I mean, the coach go right out and say it. You know, he's not killing this team. And he might throw an interception while he's trying to throw something into the end zone, but he's making the throw, and that's the throw that needs to be made. He's just making a mistake on the delivery. So I have no problem with that guy coming in, not being asked to do too much, but being on the field, experiencing the speed of the game, and being able to see how his talents apply. It's a matter of us fans not getting too greedy and wanting too much too quickly.
Amen, brother. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I got a question for our guest, Yinka, and that is, you know, we look at the Vikings and you look at the Seahawks who've been to the Super Bowl a couple times, and we kind of look at the Vikings now, and it almost kind of feels like we're the Seahawks of, 2011, 2010, when they were kind of going through that rebuilding process and drafting a quarterback and doing some of the things that they've done. When you look at this game, I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. Is this Vikings team, is this one of those games that we might look back at in a couple of years, assuming, you know, if we win this game, is this going to be a game that we look back and we go, hey, that was a turning point for this team, and it kind of got Teddy over the hump. Maybe he has a big game, and Stephon Diggs, obviously, he's evolving into a star possibly, and Barr, and you know, we still got Trey Waynes. We haven't talked much about him, but he's a guy that I think is going to contribute eventually to this team. So is this a game that we're going to look at maybe in a couple of years, look back on and say, hey, that was a game where the Vikings kind of stepped up and kind of made their mark as far as where this team is going, the direction it's going, and something that we're going to look forward to eventually here?
Well, yes and no. I actually would say that the game that I think that we'll start to look back in was week 4, just before our bye. That game against Denver. We went down pretty early in that game, and if being Vikings fans, if there's one thing that we know from the previous years is once the Vikings have gotten punched in the mouth, you know, they're down for the count. And what you saw in that Denver game, I think you saw the Vikings get punched in the mouth and get back up and punch back. And you saw the defense respond. You saw Teddy respond. Diggs started to emerge. You saw Adrian bust out a huge 40-something yard run. And that's the game that I really felt that the Vikings were like, hey, you know, we lost to a really good team, but at the same time, I mean, yeah, there are no moral victories, but at the same time, after that game, you really saw this team. Yeah, they leaned on Adrian a little bit more, but he was okay with that. And Teddy was also able to accept the fact that he is still learning. He is still in the learning process. He is still growing and stuff. But, like, this team is getting better, and they're able to put forth that Zimmer will, that Zim Reaper defense, as I like to call them, forth in every single game because, you know, the defense is really, you know, they're setting the tone and the offense is really responding. Now, I know that a lot of more people are on the side of, you know, they want the offense to score and score and score. But here's the thing about scoring a bunch on offense, and this is what I've kind of learned. The teams that oftentimes have those high, like really high profile or just high octane offenses, they're scoring a bunch of points, but the problem is they're scoring so big and so fast where they're putting their defense right back on the field, and their defense are just being gassed because they don't, they're scoring up to 35, 40 points, and the defense is letting go just as much because it's just like, okay, well, I was just on the field because you guys scored so fast. The reason why this formula works is you're running out the clock. You're burning up 6 to 7 minutes where your defense isn't playing and they're fresh, while Zimmer is rotating guys, and you're not really seeing much of a drop off from some of these guys. And Bridgewater's making the throws that are there and throwing it away when it's not. And the reason why this formula works is you keep a defense fresh. And yes, they're not always pretty wins, but at the same time, at the end of the day, if you win by 1 point, that's still a win in the NFL. If we win the Super Bowl by 1 point, no one's going to talk about, they only won by 1 point. No, they're going to talk about the 2016 Super Bowl champions being the Minnesota Vikings. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if we do win this one, I think that it will cause the nation as well as, NFL.com, all those guys that are, saying stuff, good stuff, but not quite there, how we don't have a signature win. But I really feel like it'll quiet the noise that the Vikings either don't have a signature win or they don't win pretty, all those other things, and really get them to start respecting us. So as far as to answer your question, I feel like it'll be a turning point as the respect that we get throughout Twitter world and the league as far as the Vikings are a team that you do have to game plan for.
I agree with you. I think Jinka is correct here, and it's I don't know how much respect plays into the whole thing as far as what it does for you in the locker room, but he's absolutely right. I think right now the Vikings, we're sitting at 8-3, we're on top of the division, but how many people, fans, analysts around the country are really going, hey, the Vikings are contenders? So I think it's a big game from that standpoint, and I think we're going to win this week, and we're really going to start opening some eyes after this week. That's for sure.
Oh, OBM, can I say something on that? I couldn't give two squirts of piss what any reporter or what any fan or whomever talks about respect for the Vikings. Until they prove it, whatever, doubt us. I don't care. That's a fan thing. We don't need to respect. The Vikings need to show that they need respect. So as far as getting respect, I could care less about that.
Personally, I love flying under the radar, in my opinion.
I'm with you, Bob.
Yeah.
And to segue from what Yinka was saying about the defense coming on and off the field, think back to our 98 team that scored, in 4 seconds all the time. And look how bad the defense became. But at this time, again, I want to introduce our very special guest, Yinka Ayinde, who is from Viking Digital Diaries, and I want to give him the floor for a couple of minutes to tell us about himself and his website. Yinka, it's all yours, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. So I'm a podcaster from, like I said, Vikings Digital Diaries. You definitely can find us on Twitter. The owner, Christy Brousseau, she had put out just kind of a little APB, does anybody want to write? And I was really starting to get into writing a lot, but I never really was introduced to the world of podcasting. But I had a lot of friends that I wanted to talk to about this stuff, and a lot of friends who didn't want to listen to me because it was the Vikings. But I just had a lot of opinions and stuff, and sat down with Christy, shout out to her, and she really picked my brain, and I was just like, yeah, I'm really serious about this. And the thing about the Vikings Digital Diaries is that it's completely by fans for fans. So we just wanted to put out more content and whatnot. And another podcaster on the show, Zach, he was there, and he got a little busy, so I got brought onto the site and whatnot. And yeah, we've been trying to do a lot of work as far as bringing more and more content and whatnot. We just recently had a Viking podcast party event that we had, hosted it last Monday. It was actually a pretty good success. We brought it. If it wasn't for you guys, we probably wouldn't have had nearly as much success as we did. I know that Christy did a lot of work for it, and obviously a huge shout out to you guys because just any support that we get Obviously, it helps us to just put out more and more content. And we're always looking for Vikings fan sites to collaborate with, obviously, just because we all love our team. We all bleed purple and gold. But like I said, the event went very successful. We have guys like Ben Utek and Reese Lloyd. We had a bunch of people, past Vikings who had played from everywhere from with Randy Moss and stuff. And they shared so many stories. We had Chris Cluey on, and it was just a successful event. We're looking at trying to do more as far as that, and definitely engage a little bit more with the community. So if there's ever a time where, they kind of want to get involved, they can just let us know. Again, you can hit us up on Twitter or contact myself or Christy or Zach. And, Vikings Digital Diaries.
We're all in the same goal, like you said. We're all Viking fans. We want to cheer on our team, and we all want to be part of when they win the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
We're definitely, as a group here, have no problem joining forces with you guys, and hopefully become a great partner. And I think Mike Olson basically runs this board. It's his board, and I think he wants to throw a few things in. So I'll give him the floor now to talk to you. Mike, all yours.
I was just going to say, it's all by fans and for fans. And one of the greatest parts about that is getting to know all the different bloggers out there, the different podcasters out there, and working together as a team and finding out what we can do for each other. Down at training camp last year, and actually the last couple of years, and getting to hang out with some of the other small publications, getting down there and playing, press corps down there. It's been a blast getting to know everybody, and looking forward to giving you guys some traffic and some plugs, and getting to know each other over at VDD there.
Inker, are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm definitely here. Sorry, I wasn't sure, but we. Because we're definitely still small, but obviously we're finding as many ways as we can to continue to grow, to continue to get our thoughts and opinions out there, as well as we definitely welcome other blog sites, opinions and stuff. Anytime that they want to collab, one thing that we try to do is we try to preview the game with another blog site, whether it be from the other team that we're going to be facing for that week. So that's something that we're obviously very interested in, and I had the chance to go to training camp this last training camp in Mankato. It was a really great time. I met a lot of bloggers there as well, and it's a nice community when getting into the website and the blogs that people have, and just meeting everybody else. So feel free. Also, I guess I didn't plug myself. If you ever are on Twitter, I'm always loving to talk football at all with anybody. So if you follow me at Saxy Prince, I play the saxophone, so my middle name's Prince, so I combine it at Saxy Prince. You can find me on Twitter, where I do most of my communicating. So yeah.
So at this time, let's move on to our upset specials. We'll have our guest go first. I think this is the part we pick a team that is expected to lose by Vegas odds, but you think they're going to win.
Lose. Who do I think is going to? Who people think they're going to lose and going to win this week? Who's kind of been my under? I'm trying to think of my underdog team. Hold on, I could probably look this up actually very, very, very fast. I do. No, I do the weekly pick-em every single week, so I think my upset of the week might be let's look at New Orleans taking down Carolina this week.
Damn it! Damn it!
My pick.
I'm a huge fan of what Carolina has been doing, but Drew Brees has been arguably, in my opinion, one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, and they have obviously been in a slump and, getting rid of Rob Ryan and stuff. Yeah, I really look at maybe Drew Brees just throwing for an insane amount of yards and touchdowns this week. And, yeah, let's look at the Saints making a splash against Carolina and giving them their first loss of the season.
I hope you're right. I really do, because I want to see Carolina lose.
Yinka, you're killing me, brother. You're killing me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was the most intriguing one.
Yeah.
It was the most intriguing one there, yeah.
I'll go back to the drawing board over here. I appreciate it.
Hey, OBM, let's go to you then.
I'll tell you what, I gotta say that was kind of what I was looking at too. But you know what? Looking at this right now, are you guys ready? Because here it comes. Eagles over the Patriots. Eagles over the Patriots in Foxborough.
Not going to happen.
That's poppycock.
That's not going to
Are
happen.
you kidding me? Chip Kelly is fighting for his job right now.
Yeah, he's going to be fighting for a job in the welfare line.
You guys realize
Here's a question.
Sanchez is playing this week.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. Who gets fired then? Chip Kelly, the GM, or Chip Kelly, the head coach?
Right.
Probably both of them. Both of them. They're both going to be cleaning my pool come January. But you know what? Someone's got to make a bold prediction. It's got to be OBM. Eagles in the upset. Go to Vegas, people. Don't spend a lot of money. Mainly drink and go to the strip club. But throw $20 down on Eagles over the Patriots. Yinka, are you with me, buddy? Are you with me?
Yeah,
You're with me. That's what I wanted to hear. Yinka's on board.
Honestly, that was my second pick, but I saw the Saints in Carolina, and I had to pick it.
All right, I love you, brother. I love you. Here we go. Eagles, Patriots. Eagles are gonna win. Done.
All right, Georgia, Mike, let's go to you.
All right. And you guys are all posers and whatever and taking my picks. I'm going to take a real upset. I'm picking the Rams over the Cardinals this week.
Son of a...
You dirty.
Oh man!
I'm taking it.
Wow.
St. Louis is knocking off the Cardinals. You know.
Wow.
So I honestly feel it. It's not just like, oh, I'm pulling this out of my rear end just to pull up an upset. I think St. Louis is hungry enough. They always play Arizona pretty tough, so I think St. Louis is going to win this week. Yeah, I'm not going to give you a point, points for anything like that. St. Louis wins outright in Arizona, against Arizona in St. Louis.
Wow.
That would be fantastic.
That would be great, actually. I'm really rooting for that one because that would really set up next week against the Cardinals.
It'd be good, but well, let's get through 1 week at a time here, OBM. 1 week at a time, brother.
I like it, brother. I like it.
Man.
Mike Olson?
You really suck, GV. You stole my pick. I told you I was taking that pick, and you
Want me to give you my ex-wife sound of a Hoover vacuum? Sucking it up right there, brother. With the gravy.
Kirby.
Let me turn the lights down, though, here.
Hey,
no,
Papa.
I guess I'm just going to have to take San Diego over Denver. They're only 4.
Right.
Yeah.
Yinka, I went first last week, so this week I have to go last. So it's
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad I went first.
Oh, you're the guest, so we have to go first.
Yinka killed me this week, so I have no sympathy for Yinka right now. Okay. and all of a sudden, I'm sorry. I told Bob to pick me last, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm going with it. I'm going with it." So sorry.
See how you do me.
I'll go eat my crow right now. I'll go sit in the corner. I'm sorry.
What's left? Yeah, there's nothing left. Oakland over KC.
Yeah, that works.
Every one of your picks, you guys took my pick. All right, I'll take Oakland.
Yeah, Oakland over Kansas City. That's legit. The Chiefs are favored by 3 for the record.
So you're not taking the undefeated Carolina Panthers this week, OBM?
I'm definitely not going to Vegas for that advice, but I may have a few cocktails over it.
At this time, everybody, we'd like to say good night And thank you for being a fan of our show and supporting us through all the weeks that we've done this. Enjoy it, and Skol Vikings. Good night, everyone.
Drinking beers all night long, listening to those devil sounds. Beers and booze, so I see rocky rebels come to me. We will have some fun tonight, drinking, stewing, that's alright. Giving all the best you got, bring another horny slug.